Welcome to Let's Fly VFR, and today we're going from Williamtown down to Bankstown, but it doesn't end how I wanted it to. So let's have a bit of fun, enjoy the flight, and have a look at Williamtown Airport as it is now. But much more to do yet. Catch you in a moment.
Hi YouTube, welcome to Let's Fly VFR. Hi, my name's Gunny.
Well, welcome everybody to Let's Fly VFR yet again. It's not much of a VFR day here in sunny Newcastle, or Williamtown Air Base. So I've been doing a reasonable amount of work on here, and we've got a few aircraft there. There's a bit of an issue. We've got a couple of aircraft collided over there. Not sure how I'm going to adjust that. Here's the taxiways and everything. Now I've been working on the trees. I had a disaster with the trees. I went and populated most of the airport as per the overhead picture, the satellite picture, and my frames went from just under 60 to 8 sitting still. So I had to go and delete about 70% of them, I think, and then I've just spread them out randomly around the airport. So while we're here, firstly, my plan is today we're going to head from Newcastle down to Sydney, but Sydney Bankstown, not Sydney Kingsford Smith, because I'm too scared to go there just yet. So let's have a look at the airport quickly before we get going. It's a really shitty day here. Let me get up a bit. So been working, but you know, there's still a huge amount of work to do here. We have cars, we've got carports, we've got open areas. I've been doing the lines. You'll note that the lines are all straight. There are so many lines to do that I expect it's going to take several weeks just doing bits and pieces. So you can see the trees are thinned out a little. We'll take a little cruise over in the camera, helicopter if you like. Use your imagination. And here we have a few less trees. Now the areas here where you see the trees in the tarmac, in the photo, the satellite photo, they're there, so I'm probably just going to move them around. There's a lot of fine tuning and stuff to be done. We've got car parking, lots of roads coming in and out. I suspect I may have moved some of the roads a little bit when I was running around doing the editing earlier. So we've still got trees here. There's a few extra buildings around, so you can see how much is involved, guys, doing this. If you're going to take on a big airport, I think I've bitten off a little bit more than I expected. But let's take a look along. Now, I haven't found any F-18s yet, but I dearly loved the Mirage 3s when I worked on them, and got to fly in the two-seat model, which we don't have here sadly, but these are the 3s. So we'll have a bit of a retro airport in some ways. Very, very fast, these things. They were enormously fast for a single engine fighter in their day. One of the fastest in the world, I believe, at the time for a fighter, an interceptor. Australia managed to get them to do everything by changing the wings from the interceptor wings to what were bomber wings. So a little bit heavier, they carried some bombs and stuff. But damn quick. I managed to get 1.03 from memory. I've got the photo. I can show you I was there. I can show you a very frightened 23-year-old sitting in the back seat of a Mirage, ready to go. One of the guys took that for me in Singapore. Can't remember who it was, but very appreciative. It's a fantastic memory. Something I never dreamed that would happen. But anyway, back here. So we've got more buildings. Now these ones I'm unsure of what these will actually be, because these are actually the satellite picture is incomplete because it was a construction site at the time. So we'll look further. I suspect we might have more of these, and there might be more places there. But there we are. I've been putting the straight lines down, as I said. There's a little cement passway or something that happens there. And a number of other things going on. So I'm just going to hit the W key and jump back in, okay? There we go. So we're back at Williamtown Airport. So let's take ourselves out here and get away from this big jet. So brakes away. Now everything's already done. Checks done. Fuels are done. We have the GPS all ready. And I'm not going to taxi behind that aircraft, because I'll end up in Victoria or somewhere. So let's head out here. All these lines are, you know, some of work that I've been doing. Our fireys have now got cement and roads and things to get to and from the main runway. The more you look when you're doing this thing, the more things you find that you need to do. So you can see the winds moving around. I think that's just fantastic. It looks so great. So we're going to enter and backtrack on the runway, which we probably wouldn't normally be allowed to do, but this isn't a tutorial. This is me having a bit of fun, and happy to have you guys along with me. Let's check down the road, check the patterns, all good, that's fine, and let's head down the taxiway, down the runway. We could go down the Air Force Base side if you like, but today we'll just head down here. So I'll catch you with you in a second when I get down there. I don't think there's any need for you guys to watch me dribble all the way down there. So I'll catch you with you when. Okay, guys, we're all ready to go, all lined up, all checked. Magneto's already done, so we won't waste time further with that. Let's take off. We'll do a left turn, and then we'll take off following our path down to Sydney Bankstown. So little wind from the front, so we'll see how we go here. We'll try and maintain our directional control, gently on with the power, getting the little right rudder in, getting a lot more right rudder in. Okay, up to full power. Try not to get it squealing, but it's wanting to go. 60 knots and away. Let's just get off the ground. Okay, there we go. Looking for our climb speed. A bit of trim. Let's have a little look right, eh? So there it is as you depart out. Allow himself to move around. Fly first. Okay, climbing well. I'm hoping Sydney will look nice with the tile down there. I haven't been there yet, so this will be a first for me as well as maybe you guys. I don't know. There we go. Let's continue with a little left turn. Continuing our climb. So we're getting fairly close to that cloud, so hopefully we don't have to stay low for too long. But the weather is pretty crappy. There's showers and storms according to the forecast. Keep climbing around. 1,500 feet. Okay, we're coming on to our heading. Okay, so let's get the autopilot running, heading, and we'll just go down so that we can select. Well, it's got GPS selected. Maybe I've done something wrong with setting it up. That's okay, we can do heading anyway. We'll get ourselves on heading, and I'll use the heading bug for now. And I'll try and work out what I've done wrong while we've got a bit of time cruising down. So let's have a look. We need 205. Let's get trimmed out first and then we'll worry about our direction. I think at this time, lots of nose down trim. We put the autopilot on and have the altitude hold. We'll be fine. What if my rudders are playing up again, guys? I think that's what my problem is here. That's why it's wanting to go around all over the place. No, it's fine. Okay, it's wanting to turn to it, so let's just bring the heading bug around. And we're going to set it for about 200, eh? We'll just go with that for now. At our VFR, the squawking VFR, and heading, and go with that. Okay, that seems to be working fine now. It's not bad. Happy with that. Right, get settled in. We'll fine tune our heading a little. I think we need to fine tune that a little bit left until it comes up to the top. Let's put it here so we can see it, eh? We do a resize. Yes, we can resize. Good. A little bit further left. Doesn't look like we're too far away from the cloud base there, does it? 210, it's about 200. Look at our range. So we're looking at about 31 minutes this rate, so if we can't go up any higher then we'll just continue on. Scenery looks pretty nice, doesn't it? Just adjust that. Bit of rain. Looks really good. It's really good. Let's have a look out the right. Fine tune. If you're not sure how to save your views, guys, it's control and the number that you would like to use for your view on your number pad. Let's see if we can get a little more altitude, eh? Let's just dial in 500 feet per minute, and just looking over everything, we need a little bit of mixture work to be done. Doing okay, as long as we don't disappear into the clouds, we'll be good. How are we going? We seem to be doing well on the direction side of things. Probably a little bit more to the left. Current track. Just dial that around a little further. So let's have a look at our instruments. 18 degrees, wow. It's been colder here in Thailand. It's been down to 6 degrees this week. I've been freezing my bits off. And they're used to 35 and 40 every day. 6 is just terrible. So left and right, plenty of fuel. EGT is probably a little on the high side, so let's Let's not burn anything out by over leaning it. Let's just balance that stuff out. That looks good. Temperatures are good here. Volts, amps looking really nice. General climb, haven't found the cloud yet, so that's really nice as well. I guess I could have cheated and just put any old weather in, guys, but this is the actual weather. So the one thing about living in Newcastle is the weather is very coastal, and it rains a lot, certainly in the stints that I've had there. We might stay at 3,500, I think, for the moment. We'll make an executive decision on that one. Okay, quick puzzle question for you again. What altitude should we be flying at going down here now? Have a look at our bearing. We're flying. Remember, east is least, west is best. Best because it's higher, so east is odd. So we should be flying 4,500 on this current heading. But that is still open to your discretion to a point, because if you can't maintain it, really we probably should just head down and maintain that. But the out clause is, and you can beat me up on this one, I think it's 3,000. You don't have to follow it up to 3,000. I'll go and pull out my Ursa and have a look and see what it tells me, but for now we're going to maintain this. Probably back the RPM off and bring it back to 2,500. You don't need to be redlining it for all the time. So our estimated time is still about 27 minutes or so. So we're still under 30 minutes, growing a little bit as we've reduced that ground speed. 135 knots, guys. What a nice tails wind we have. So we know the wind was coming from 335 and then 358, so it's nearly directly behind us, and normally I would expect us to be sitting about the 110 knots. So yeah, we're not doing bad. Showing 110, so if we're getting an airspeed of 128, we must have an 18 knot tailwind, so it's pretty windy, isn't it? Let's have a look out the windows. Enjoy the view. Okay, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to identify that airport. Yeah? Okay. It's not a very big airport. Probably worth a build, because it's not going to take too much to do, and we can have that included in our New South Wales pack, can't we? Okay. Now, if you've downloaded the packs for South Australia that I put out a little while back, guys, we'd love to hear, because I don't know if you've bothered to do it, or you haven't, or you've downloaded them and thought, no, they're rubbish, which is okay. End of the day, I do them for me, and you guys are more than welcome to share them. Nice, the main highway. Been on that a couple of times, but it's been a long time since I've been over here for real. We get some droplet effects maybe on the windscreen, but maybe my effects is not high enough for that to occur. I do like that you can see the lines here, just the bend of the windscreen around the aircraft is it's pretty good. There's so much I like about this flight simulator. I could probably ramble on for ages about it. To me, it's just amazing. Although it has its moments, I really wanted to do this flight in the glass air by a pilot What a magnificent group of aeroplanes. There's a number that A Pilot's put together. A big thank you out to you, whoever you are. We will get back in there and fly there as soon as I find out why Xplane won't see it. I had them on this morning and it was perfectly fine. I've checked the directories. They're all there. But it's had a fit and said I won't recognise them or I won't look at them. So we left with the stock ones. So. But we'll get that soon. Really nicely done. Modelled well. Very fast. Wow, they're fast. Makes this thing look like a little donkey, the old Cessna. Cruising at 175 knots, landing at, approach at 90. Stall speed was, let me grab it, I've got the notes here next to me on the passenger seat. Let me give you the figures for those. 1,177 mile range. That's just crazy stuff. Rate of climb 1,500 feet a minute. Max speed 260 miles an hour. Cruise speed 175 knots. Landing distance rollout 500 meters. Service ceiling 19,000 feet. And let's see, maneuvering speed VA. We should look at VAs, or the speeds for aircraft. If you guys are not absolutely familiar with those, there's a number of important ones. So the one a lot of people would know would be the VNE, velocity never exceed, I believe that is, and that's the speed you should never fly the aircraft at or beyond, or certainly not beyond that speed. Stall speed with power off, VSL that is, 65 miles per hour, and that'll be a little bit less in knots. Landing approach speed 90 miles per hour, so 85 maybe knots. Knots are a little bit better, a little bit bigger. There's a range of models that the guys supplied, retractable and non-retractable tail wheel and try. The try, according to the documentation, is nasty to taxi around, and I haven't got much experience in aircraft that don't have nose wheel steering. The Diamond DA-20, which I had a mere 6 hours in over at Hardwick Air, hello to the guys there if you happen to be watching, had a really great time with it. Nearly cleaned up a couple of aeroplanes with it one day when I pushed the rudders and it went in a totally different direction. So the instructor remained absolutely calm as we careered towards a couple of expensive planes in it. Got it stopped, got it out of there, but yeah, a lesson learned. Isn't that great? God, so realistic. We need to do some night flights, I think, too, guys, because we know Xplane 11 is just renowned for its HDR lighting. How are we going on our process down here? Okay, doing well. 23 minutes, 126 knots, so we've lost some of our wind possibly. We're indicating 108 knots through the air. So that's doing alright. So let's move the range out. So we got Richmond. I think I will build Richmond as well. They are long-term projects, because now I've discovered how much I've bitten off doing Williamtown. They're going to be enormously complex, so don't hold your breath on that one, guys. But we will probably do them, I think. Ah, bridge down there. Wish I had the maps. It would be so much nicer if I had the maps. Slide across and be co-pilot. Dream of being CFI. at some roads and no buildings down there. Wonder what's supposed to be there. Probably supposed to be a town, eh? Just get those rudders around, make sure they don't turn off on me. Leaving the weather behind us. Okay, what's going on? Or did that change all of a sudden? Let's have a look at everything. Fuel's doing well, EGT's down, so we need to do some more trimming. Give us a little bit of leaning work. Maybe there was a bit of turbulence we got there. I was expecting to see some thunder and see some lightning and a bit of thunder about, but we've been lucky so far. Don't know why we had a miss there. Let's have a look in here as well. So flight plans, VNAV, that's all good. We'll just have a look through here while we're going through. So CDI, let's have a look there. GPS, VLOC, I'll need to read up on that one. OBS, again got a few things I need to find out about, I think. So I'm pretty sure if I get to do some flying in Australia, these sorts of things will be something that I'll have in hand. So activate vector final, select approach. Some really great tutorials out there from guys that really know their stuff on these. Now we're getting a little bit close here. I'm going to choose to descend a little. Don't want to be going through it. Down to 5, and I'll just bring the RPM back a little bit. We don't want to get away with ourselves here. Looking forward to seeing what Sydney looks like when we get there. And one of the other things that which you should do with your planning, and I should have done, is had a look to see what the mountain heights were and the hill heights were on the way into Sydney to make sure that we can actually fly through there. Because obviously we have an alternative. We could fly out to sea and stay along the coastline and coastline hop so that we can get through there. Let's reduce. I'm going to manually push this down a little bit more, so I'm just going to take the autopilot off for a bit. Oh, that was a bit vicious, sorry about that. That was probably a negative G. Let's just get down. I just don't want to go through it. We had my little experience down on KI, if you've not seen that video. We took off in marginal weather, thinking it would probably be okay for a quick flight round. Then found myself IMC or instrument when I hit the clouds. I expected to sort of come in through some broken cloud and then get out the other side, but it turned out not to be the case. And yeah, there was had to do a bit of work there. So 2,500, we'll put it back on the nav. So we're back under the cloud, and the hills around us are remaining well below us, so that's good. You're supposed to maintain at least 1,000 feet between you and the highest point within 10 nautical miles around you. So which still would be, but it's probably getting a little bit close with those hills. So again, let's check instruments, all going well. Our pressures are good, up in the green. Our engine vacuums and everything are not bad. Let's grab the map. Forgot about the map. Let's see if it's going to play. It'll catch up with us in a moment, won't it? Does seem to be a little bit hit and miss at times, doesn't it? Takes a little while to get its life sorted out, but it works well. So, see where we are. Is Bankstown, Richmond. And that does seem to be a converging point, so that's obviously a nav point for the big boys. We have some aircraft around us, helicopters and things all away, far enough away from us that it's not too much of an issue. Nice, isn't it? It's going well. So let's put the map away for a minute. That'll keep us centered on us, and that's north and our direction. Okay, what's over here? We got a glider. Oh dear. Okay, doing well. Yeah, happy. I'm happy. Going along. How's our weather going? It's getting a bit thicker, isn't it? Got a bit of mist around now. It looks like it's broken a little bit. Oh man, that's just beautiful. Just sit up a little bit. No, I've not seen anything like this in the other sims when I played them. It's really great. So we got a bit of a cloud or a mist layer we're just passing over at our main cloud group, our base here. So now it gives you an opportunity. You could, if you wanted to, you might be able to climb if you wanted to and get up and above that, but we haven't got time to do that because we'll probably need to come down through it. It is supposed to be broken. The actual NAPES report, weather report, reports the weather as being broken through here, so there should be gaps in the cloud banks as we travel through. But if you haven't got a good amount of distance, and that's still reasonably high, then you find yourself diving excessively quick to get back through it, I would imagine. It's all cleared up through here. Such a contrast to South Australia. It's all the water here, all the green trees. Got traffic down there on the road. And we're just going between the gap in the cloud and the mist. I'd so love to do this in VR. I think I've got to do something. I've got to get VR. I've only waited 30 odd years for it to catch up with technology. Check our map again. Gliders. We haven't seen anything, have we? There's nothing close to us. It's certainly not showing any aircraft. How many we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A helicopter. So back on flight plan. Let's have a look there. Okay, we need to make a correction. So let's take it over to nearly south. These are really wind corrections. That's what's occurring. The wind's changing direction in a matter of 10 minutes, 10 or 15 minutes, I think it was. The updated weather within the sim had moved by about 10 or 15 degrees, so the winds were moving around. So we can zoom in a little bit more. So Richmond, Sydney. So that's Kingsford Smith here. We'll get into Kingsford Smith another day, but for the moment we'll just head to Bankstown. Okay, we're in a bit of trouble here. Let's turn before we get in there, and we'll maintain our altitude, and we'll go around these cloud banks. Just getting a little bit low to fly underneath. It would be a little naughty. A little bit more RPM. We'll just skirt the edge of it. Try and keep clear of it. Looks reasonable out here. Just what's out right. So you can see what would be you'd call probably shah, which is rain. Shah is rain that falls from the cloud but never actually makes it to the ground. You often see as a shadow underneath a cloud. You have to consider your aircraft when you do this. Not just the aircraft physically, but things like the prop. If you have an aircraft that has a wooden prop, again to walk back onto the Jabiru, doesn't like flying in rain. It's not good for the prop. It's not good for its life. I'll just fly this manually, I think, for a while. Hope you guys are having a nice day. Thanks for staying with me. And a big thank you to all my subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet and you're enjoying the flights with me, please feel free to subscribe. It helps me a lot, keeps you updated when I bring out my new videos. Generally on a Monday, a flight, and if I can find something that I think you guys might find interesting, then I try and put that out on probably a Wednesday or a Thursday, somewhere midweek, more towards Thursday normally. So, if you like my channel, please subscribe. Come to the Let's Fly VFR Facebook page. It's an open page. Everybody's welcome, and every platform is also welcome. Just because I fly an Xplane 11, you're certainly more than welcome. But I would appreciate if you just keep it to GA. There's enough out there with the big airliners. That's certainly not an interest that I have. I'm not in lighties. I want to be flying jets, fighter jets. So, and then it's off to say Falcon BMS or something like that for a belt around the sky in the 16 or something. Let's keep it below these and watch our speeds. As long as you maintain the green, but we're fortunate there's no turbulence today. If there was turbulence, we'd want to be back around about the 100 knot mark, I would imagine, because it just puts so much more strain on your wings being bounced around. can picture hanging onto a model at the wingtips and shaking it up and down. That's essentially what you're doing. So if you slow down, it's not quite as violent. So let's bring this up. Actually, that's probably not a bad direction to go, as we are just coming into the airport. So let's go back on our nav and on our what's happening. It's just leveling out. It's heading back, going back on heading, my heading bug, and it's going back to the previous altitude we were at. That's fine. We're just hitting into the yellow. Let's just back off the RPM. And I think I might just climb a little. I think we can afford to do that a little. I don't like being so low. It's very marginal if you're flying VFAR, I would think, you know. Certainly, if I was doing it for real, I probably would consider carefully whether I fly, although it's probably well within VFR minimums. You look at minimums, if your visibility is about here, that's about your limit. If you've got a circle around you, you can see ahead, then you'd be surprised what a minimum looks like in VFR. Not something I would go out and aim to fly in, I'm sure. So we're getting over the northern part of maybe Sydney, maybe? If you guys happen to live there. Oh, we've got a nice bit of open sky. Doing well. There we're going. 8 minutes out, guys, so we're nearly there. So we're going to start needing to plan our arrival when it's clearing up nicely as we get in over Sydney, over the northern suburbs, or northwestern suburbs. Man, what's that? Look at that. What the hell is that? Looks like an old mine or something. Wow. Okay. Let's get back on the task at hand. Zoom in a little. I'm surprised that didn't cause me some grief. Okay, let's just sit up a little. And we want to identify the airport. So it is off to our left and the runway. So we're going to fly down, left, and come in. Yeah, I think that's the plan. Around. So we've got a northerly approach. Let me just grab our airport. Got Kingsford Smith in front of me. Let's have a look here. Okay, Bankstown. So 29 is what I want. Then there should be 3 29s. Left, centre and right. So 29 is 280, 290. So it doesn't look right. It should be back this way, going that angle. So we will check it out visually as we get there. See if I'm doing something wrong, or if the airport is not as I expected it. So anyway, we should be fine when we get there. A little low cloud hanging around, a bit of mist. No rain, certainly getting a bit nicer. What's out there? It's like a bit of river or something. Oh, Blue Mountains. At least we're not flying over those. And it's looking like an airport there. No. It's looking something like a runway and stuff as well. Oh, there's a Bunnings. Oop, sorry about that, guys. So a lot of unfinished roads. Things happening there. Low cloud here as well. Okay, I think we can descend because otherwise we're going to meet the cloud. We'll turn all our turn that all off, and we'll descend, and we'll just bring this up a little bit to the left. Bring this around. We'll come down to 1,000 feet, AGL or so. Maybe it's behind the cloud. Just keep bring that all the way back down. We'll go to full rich since we're descending in. Nice terrain, isn't it? Yeah. I think 1,500 feet would be a good number to be. Descent rate's pretty hefty. Down at 1,500 feet, level out there and proceed towards the airport. We can fly overhead at 1,500 feet quite happily. You can normally in most airports. That would be fine. Anybody see it yet? Pretty good with the frame rates as well. I mean, still hitting 32, which is pretty good for my machine. Let's just keep that nose down. I did see a really interesting video a couple of days back. Maybe I should find it and link it in. It was a young guy in America who went to go for a ride in a Baron twin, and he was an Xplane 11 simulator fan and got to fly the Baron for real, thinking about going into the aviation business, going into as a pilot. And it was interesting. It seemed like the end result was there's still a lot of differences between the real, but it was still pretty good. It's the feedback that we don't get. You don't feel the seat move under you, and you don't feel the pressure on the joystick often, although if you've got a force feedback joystick you get a little of that. I don't know if there's any force feedback yokes out there. If you guys like the yokes, I'm still using a Wingman force feedback, and that works pretty well. Like, it does push back against you when you do things. It shakes on the runway. Okay, so that looks like it'll be an airport. it is, and there's our runways. So we will go here and we'll do a left end of the pattern at the left downwind, and we'll fly the pattern down and we'll land on 29 left, making all the appropriate radio calls. Let's just maintain that and just fly it down and in. See if I can get a stall warning before I touch down. It'll just hoof mine onto the tarmac. I have that problem with when I'm flying. Okay, so 3 runways, taxiways. Let's aim. We're going to aim for this one here. Go around and come back in. We need to join the pattern, and we need to be down at 1,000 feet. And the elevation here is only 34 feet, so let's say we can disregard that pretty much and just go enter the pattern at 1,000 feet. So Bankstown traffic, Cessna 172 SB entering left downwind for runway 29 it should be. Oh, it's a very poor airport, isn't it? That's very sad. If you're at altitude it would be fine. It's a very sad runway. Airport, I think that's a mission we have to go on, guys, don't we? Okay, let's bring ourselves back. Now it at least needs to have, you know, some buildings. That's I would have thought someone would have done that, you know. You would think someone would have built something like Bankstown and Kingsford Smith. I'm sure Kingsford Smith's got quite a bit on it. Okay, let's go first stage flap. Keep an eye on the left. We're a little bit close. We'll just fly out some. We'll maintain our altitude. Shouldn't be descending quite so much. Going back to the glass airs, if you don't mind, the only faults I found was that the altimeter didn't have any adjustment in it. It was whatever it was is what it was. It operated fine, but it didn't allow you to adjust for air pressures and altitudes. It just set itself, although it was setting itself correctly, I think, because the bar was set across and the elevator was reversed. The two little things, you know. I downloaded a few different aircraft. Well, guys, here we are on a long final. On approach to the airport, after a good 50 minutes, the system died. So that wasn't good. So I didn't get to do the landing. And I have tried 3 times since then to land, and have near on killed myself every time. There's a hell of a wind seems to be coming from the left, and I've been dancing on the pedals to try and keep it on the runway. About after I've touched down, very challenging, very challenging. So I thought, well, you know, look, I'm going to be honest, I was screwed up a few times, so I'm going to try and get it right this time. But I'm sure I'm going to be all over the place. So you can see we're being blown away to the left, to the right, and things balancing. You need left aileron as you touch down. I'm going to go more, and I'm going to have more rudder, more trim. Try and be as slow as possible. Carrying speed in is just causing me to go everywhere. Here we go, here we go. So I've got left. I'm going to have to put right rudder in about now. Nose up, flare, hold it straight, balance on there, and left rudder, right, power's off, lots of right rudder, right, trying to hold its damn thing straight on full right rudder, and, oh, man, wow, okay, brakes on, oh, well, that wasn't very good. I'm going to save this. I'm going to have to fly this thing a few times until I suss out what I'm doing wrong. But that's pretty terrible, isn't it? But that's the amazing thing about this bloody flight sim. If you were flying the other flight sims, and I spent a lot of time flying the damn things, I've never had that much trouble trying to land an aeroplane. So let's leave that, yeah? Sometimes you just make a mistake. I was going to say something else, but you know what I'm thinking, don't you? So let's leave it at that. Entertaining end to smashing up an aeroplane at Bankstown. And, well, we're going to learn. I'm going to fly some more. I'm going to save this situation and come back and just keep doing from 3 mile files until I get that smoothed out. I think there's a real challenge to be had there. So get the wind out, get the real world weather, and test your skills. This has certainly been very testing for myself today. So until next time, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it wasn't too long for you. Remember, the timestamps were there for you to click through and watch me crash. And I will see you again on Let's Fly VFR in the next video. Catch you again soon. And everybody, have a great Christmas. It's Christmas as I do this here, 2017.